Shalom and welcome back to Israel with Aline. Today in a very special edition straight from Egypt. As you can see, I am here in Cairo with the pyramids in the background, and I am with the Israel with Aline caravan, and I want to show you our days and our wonderful journey. So if you're ready, let's get started, folks. And now we have arrived here in the pyramid zone. It's even hard to film them here on the camera because they are so big. They are even more impressive here in real life. In a little while we are going to enter one of the pyramids, but I just want to show you something that I don't know if you know, but the pyramids are not in the middle of the desert. They are here next to the city. So right here is the whole city of Cairo, and the pyramids are here in the middle. Now, looking at these colossal works, these pyramids, how long do you think it took to build each one of them? Leave it here in the comments, I'll tell you soon. And the stones used in the construction were colossal, gigantic stones. The largest stone found here weighs 15 tons on its own. And it's important to use large stones because here they don't use cement. It's simply stones placed on top of stones. So their weight helps to maintain this structure, since we're talking about pyramids here in Egypt that are nearly 5,000 years old. And now the personal question, how long did it take to build all this? 30 years. Imagine how long it takes for us to build a building of this size nowadays. They were able to do it back then in just 30 years. Guys, I just want to show you how big the stones are here at the base, so let me get close to the pyramid to show you. But look at this. Look how tiny I look in relation to each of these stones. And we're talking about thousands and thousands and thousands of stones used in the construction. And from the point where I am, you can't even see the top of the pyramid. I arrived here so excited that I didn't even tell you exactly where we are. Let's start at the beginning. We are at the Great Pyramids of Giza complex, one of the most striking and iconic places of the ancient world. The complex has dozens of buildings and structures. The most famous are the three Great Pyramids, which were gigantic tombs for the pharaohs. But I want you now to look at this building that is in front of us. This is the tomb of Sennacherib Inti, who was the vizier, that is the right hand of Pharaoh Esesi. I came here because I wanted to show you the walls that are covered in hieroglyphs. This was the writing system of ancient Egypt. Each drawing could represent a word, a sound, or even an idea. But this writing system stopped being used around the 4th century and fell into oblivion. And because of that, for 1,500 years, no one could decipher what was written here. But all of that changed in the 19th century when the Rosetta Stone was found, which held the key to deciphering the hieroglyphs. And because of that, today, once again, we can read these texts that are over 4,000 years old. Let's go back to the pyramids, especially this one in front of us, because they are about to open it for visitation. This is the Great Pyramid of Giza, also known as the Pyramid of Khufu. Now it's time for us to go inside the pyramid. Let's go. And from here, you can see the city of Cairo in the background even better. We are inside the pyramid, and it's amazing to think that it is one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world, and it is the only wonder that still exists. To explain a bit better where we are, we entered here through entrance number 2, which is called the Thieves' Entrance. We walked through tunnel number 3, and now we're going to go up through 6, and we're going to follow a narrow path to the King's Chamber, which is number 10. Look folks, I'm used to caves in Israel, but the caves that I go to in Israel usually don't have anyone. Here it's tight and crowded. This is the King's Chamber, and in the middle is the granite sarcophagus of Pharaoh Khufu, but the sarcophagus is empty. We don't know if his body, if his mummy was looted, buried elsewhere, or what really happened to him. And now, shall we leave the pyramid and continue our adventure? Let's now see the Great Sphinx, and we can already see it here now in the background. It was also built by Pharaoh Kelps, the same one from the pyramid we just entered. And this building we see is the Sphinx Temple, where religious ceremonies related to the dead were performed. We have to remember that all of this, the pyramids, sphinxes, temples, all of this and much more were linked to the ancient Egyptian religion, which was polytheistic, pagan, and saw the pharaoh himself as a god. And wow, the Sphinx is really colossal. It is 80 yards long. It is the face of the pharaoh with the body of a lion. It even has a tail. See it here. And the mystery about the Sphinx is what happened to her nose, because there are clearly marks that the nose was intentionally cut off, but no one knows when or why this was done. But we know it was done before the 15th century, that is over 500 years ago. Now we return to the bus and head to New Cairo City to visit the National Museum. We've arrived. This is the National Museum of Egyptian Civilization, and it has incredible treasures. And look here at the focused caravan group, listening to the explanations of the local guide. Look at this statue of Pharaoh Merneptah next to the goddess Mut. This pharaoh lived over 3,200 years ago. And he is known because he fought against the people of Israel in Canaan. And his most famous inscription, which has survived to this day, has the oldest mention of the name Israel outside of the Bible. And this shows the relationship of Israel with Egypt 3,200 years ago, just a little after the time of the Exodus. The richness of this museum is impressive. And I mean richness in every sense. First, the archaeological finds here that are literally priceless, but also for the amount of gold and precious stones that are here. Look here, folks, all this we're seeing is real gold. It's estimated that just inside Tutankhamun's tomb there was a ton of gold. That is, Egypt in the ancient world served for a long time as a kind of safe that stored gold not only from ancient Egypt, but also from the entire region and neighboring kingdoms. And that's why we see a lot of this gold here, even today. And looking at the many sarcophagi here in the museum, it reminds me of Genesis 50 because it is written in the Bible that both Jacob and Joseph died in Egypt and were embalmed. That is, they were mummified and placed in sarcophagi, probably very similar to these. Joseph died at the age of 110 years, and after being embalmed, he was placed in a sarcophagus in Egypt. Here, the path to see the royal mummies is already marked. Let's go! And I'm here with Luana, with the caravan people, and we are finally going to enter to see the mummies. What we really came to see, and everyone is curious about, let's see the mummies of Egypt. Sorry folks, it's not allowed to film inside the mummy room, and here we obey the rules, but just to give you a taste, this is the photo of Pharaoh Ramses II, who is inside the room and who is considered by many scholars the Pharaoh of the Exodus, narrated in the Bible.
Already?
It's nighttime. I changed my outfit, as you can see, because we are going to take a cruise on the Nile River. So here behind me,
You already?
can see the famous Nile River, and here our boat will have a show. It's going to be super cool. And I also here with my new clothes. This one is the Egyptian big guy, so I'm super happy. But let's continue our tour and also enjoying not only our day but our night here in Cairo. The Nile River, on which we are going to sail, was and continues to be the main source of life in Egypt. And it's the longest river in the world. It's over 621 miles, and it passes through a total of 10 countries. Let's now have dinner on board. A party with typical music has started. And this dance that we are seeing now is a typical Egyptian dance called tanura. And it is performed only by men and men who belong to a group called the Sufis. And it's really quite impressive. And then now another show is starting, and this one is a belly dance, which is also very typical here. The show continues inside. It's a bit windy outside, but I didn't want to miss showing you the Nile River, which is so important and appears in so many biblical passages. Obviously, the first one we always remember is that Moses was placed in these same waters and he will be saved and become one of the great heroes of the Bible. The woman became pregnant and gave birth to a son. Seeing that the boy was beautiful, she hid him for 3 months. However, unable to hide him any longer, she got a papyrus basket, covered the holes with tar and pitch, put the boy in it, and left the basket among the reeds by the river bank. The boy's sister stood at a distance to see what would happen to him. Pharaoh's daughter went down to bathe in the river, and the young women who had come with her were strolling by the bank. When she saw the basket among the reeds, she sent one of her maids to fetch it. Opening the basket, she saw the child, and behold, the boy was crying. She felt compassion for him and said, "Is this one of the Hebrew boys?" She named him Moses, saying, "I drew him out of the water." The boat is already getting ready to come here, and we have finished our day of sightseeing. I hope you enjoyed following a little bit of our tour here in Egypt and a somewhat different day here on the channel. A kiss and see you next time.